15 months, and it's not done. The musical chairs of that belt is going to continue. And when the media wrapped their arms around this darling, had a great story, had a great look, was a good competitor, and was the top of this forming division, they went insane with it. They were talking about she could beat Floyd Mayweather. Do you remember that talk? There was guys that were on board with that saying she could beat Floyd Mayweather. As absolutely insane as that statement is, Joel, that was only 14 months ago. There was then people saying in the media that she was the best female athlete in the world. Now, they completely overlooked somebody named Serena Williams, who has been in a competitive architecture tournament-style format in a sport that's been around for over 100 years. You cannot look at a forming division ever in combat and declare who the best is. You got to let it trickle down. That's just the reality. So Ronda got thrown into this spot, and it was awesome. This is all meant to be positive. It was this awesome, rare opportunity. Right place, right time, right look, right skills, right matchups, right push. And she absolutely had a heyday. She had fun on top of everything else. She had competitive success. She had financial success. She was able to spin that into endorsements, television appearances, interviews, movies. Everything was right, but it wasn't real. That's where things come off. It wasn't real. This wasn't actually based on skill. It was based on the media to this. The one thing that I didn't know, and I say this as a personal friend of Ronda, the one thing I didn't know is that she marked out for her own gimmick. I didn't know that Ronda looked at it any differently than what I just said, which was, I was in the right place at the right time, and I'm going to ride this horse to the ground. I didn't realize that she was equating her self-worth to her performances in a sport, which she should not do. This is a nice, kind, giving, caring woman. That's the real story that has never been told. So on Saturday, when you looked at that performance, and you and I both thought she would win, but we are largely influenced by the media.
I had Amanda.
I thought on this show you said Ronda. I thought you started with Ronda and then switched to Amanda. Fine, you had Amanda. I had Ronda as winning. But the reality was I was influenced by the media. I didn't know either. And I also didn't know Amanda. I didn't know what Amanda was capable of doing. I didn't know where her skills sat. She was the main event of UFC 200, and until she walked through the curtain that night, I did not know what she looked like. I didn't know just her fights weren't on television. Her fights were undercards. She was fighting girls who we didn't know. We didn't give respect to that. So what I'm trying to say is I didn't know where Amanda was at when I'm forming an opinion on this. And I'm going, well, Ronda was the champion and she knows how to compete. I'm going to go ahead and take Ronda. But I don't know. And then as far as Ronda's performance went, Joel, this was bizarre. I think that's the best word. This wasn't a case of her judo didn't work or her punches didn't land or her defenses weren't sharp. She never tried judo. She never tried boxing. She never tried defense. So it wasn't a matter of these things failed her or simply weren't as good as Amanda's skills. Ronda never did anything. She walked across the ring, she put her hands up, and she proceeded to get punched repeatedly. And that surprised me. Her lack of performance surprised me, and it made me think. And I tell you, I'm a friend of her. I haven't been able to get a hold of her in over a year. So I really don't know what's going on. But as a person that's been in this business and just watching that, I can all but tell you, I can all but assure you, she did not spar for this fight. And if she did, she did not spar. She looked like somebody that had been hitting myths, wasn't used to an opponent in front of them, didn't know what to do. And she just never got started.
All right, first off, you make a good point in your story about this, but I disagree with it. She can only beat the people in front of her. Okay, she can only beat the people in front of her. She earned everything. She earned everything, and we all thought she was the greatest, and she was. She was the greatest. She killed it. Listen, man, I said this before. I said this at Bears. I said, listen, her biggest battle is the fact that she got her head kicked off her neck last time, and she's a woman. She's a woman. Okay, men, we're different, man. It doesn't matter. We're different. We're made different. Men who get knocked out, men who get brutally smashed in a ring have a hard road to toe coming back into the next fight. She came out. She got punched in the face. She got hit straight with the jab. And she was back in Australia. She was back in Australia. She froze. And this isn't Edmund's fault. This isn't her fault. This is nobody's fault. This is, women have been fighting for 4 or 5 years or 10 years or something like that. This is brand new. And she lost, plain and simple. And she killed it in this sport. And now it's her time to just walk away. The end of the world wasn't the other day. It's just starting. I heard people getting all upset because she didn't do any media. She didn't have to. It wasn't in her contract. People getting all upset because she didn't talk to everybody after the fight. She didn't have to. It's not in her contract. The one takeaway I have from this is Dana said, he went back there and they cried for 45 minutes. What are they crying about? She lost the competition. She's rich. People love her. She's got nothing to cry about. You lost a match, Ronda. That's it. The game might have caught up to you, and that's okay. Man, walk away. Walk away. If you, as a man, like seeing a woman take a beating like Ronda did the other night, you got hoe in you, okay? You just do. I never want to see a woman get beat like that, ever. That's not good, man.
You started that. I don't disagree with anything you just said, but you did start that by saying you disagree with me. Boy, I feel like we're saying the same thing right now. I feel like we're saying the exact same thing. My one and only argument was this was a media fixation based on marketability. To say that Ronda was the best female athlete in the world and put her in front of Serena Williams, which the list did. I bring Serena up because the list put Ronda 1, Serena 2. That is insane. And that's not a knock on Ronda. It's a knock on the media for falling for something. What I didn't know, though, is that Ronda had fallen for it. I thought that Ronda was just going, hey, this is great. Let's ride this into the ground. Let them say what they want about me. But that's a two-way street. They then will also say bad things about you. You can't equate to either one of them. You can't think you're the greatest because a headline comes out and some reporter says you are. That's not what makes you the greatest. And you also can't think that you're terrible and need to retire and move on in life because some report says it. People, the big talk on Ronda, as soon as that fight was done, is she going to retire? I don't know is the answer. And what I turn to isn't Ronda and where her mindset is. I turn to history. What have other people done? Fighters and athletes, Joel, for the longest time have dangled this whole, this is my last one. I don't know if I want to do this anymore. I've only got a couple left in me. They've dangled that out there. They do this for the same reason children would do something like this. They want to be begged to stay. They want to be patted on the back, and they're fishing for compliment. Oh, no, you're really good. We really need you. Please don't leave. That's what they're looking for. When the athlete has success, that's when they start talking about that. As soon as the athlete quits having success, they start wanting to do this a lot more. Their tone starts to change. I'll use Anderson Silva. It was always going to be his last fight. He was going to retire. He was going to be done, which he never was. He just wanted people to beg and tell him how great he was. As soon as he went on a losing streak, he signs an 11-fight deal and talks about, I'm going to fight another 10 years. So that does change pretty quick. Now, as far as Ronda and her chances of ever becoming champion again, no, those are long gone. She's not going to become the champion again. But to say that there's not a place for her, to act like she went from, number one contender to zero, that's not true either. She might have not fallen any more than 3 or 4. She definitely hasn't fallen 5, 6, 8, 10. She has a place. The problem she's got. She's got the politics of it. Joel, the problem she's got is she has a built-in contract. We saw that she has a disclosed $3 million that she made on Friday night. What people don't realize is there's also an undisclosed back-end amount for the pay-per-view. That makes sense. So she's going to end up with $5.5 to $6 million for this fight. Now, where that works against her is if you bring her back and she's got that kind of a contract, you've got to put her on top of the bill. You cannot pay a person $5.5 million and have them not headline the show. So now she's got to headline a show, which means she's got to headline it against a top girl. That is where the wheels fall off the bus. Is she willing to go out there, stay in a sport, stay in? She's in her prime. She's 29 years young. She's in her prime right now, and it maybe hasn't even come. The reality is these are her skills.